of Change News.
Good day, I'm Amanda Kumalo with Voice of Change Radio News. A look at the leading stories. Former Vice President Mohadi castigates non-governmental organizations for meddling in political issues. ZACC continues to weed out corrupt elements within government parastatals. CCC activist Charlton Hwende faces jail. In business news, a government working on key economic enablers. In regional and international news, a fake Reverend Sister arrested for child trafficking in Nigeria. In sports, Zimbabwe dominates BMX challenge. The news in detail. Former Vice President Campbell Mohadi has castigated non-governmental organizations operating in the country for agitating for regime change. Mohadi, who is ZANU-PF Second Secretary, said the NGOs, with help from rogue traditional leaders, were plotting to oust President Emmerson Mnangagwa's administration and replacing it with puppets of the West. Mohadi, who is ZANU-PF Second Secretary, said the NGOs, with help from rogue traditional leaders, were plotting to overthrow President Mnangagwa's administration and replacing it with puppets of the West. Addressing traditional chiefs and headmen during a Kwekwe District Coordinating Committee's DCC meeting last week, Mohadi claimed that he had been reliably informed that there are some non-governmental organizations who are giving out money and airtime to use to influence them to cause instability and stage a coup against President Mnangagwa. CCC activist Charlton Hwende faces jail for incitement of public violence after he called for mass demonstrations against his callous incarceration in a matter that is already before the courts. Zimbabweans have, however, blamed the behavior of CCC members, saying it is tantamount to anarchy. The arrest of TIMB CEO Meanwell Gudu and the Human Resources Manager Tsitsi Harawa and two more officials, Everest Matibiri and Stuart Sanyika, on charges of embezzlement of public funds is a testimony that Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission is unyielding in its efforts to weed out corruption, which is complementary to Vision 2030 to enhance and create a corrupt-free environment that stimulates economic growth. At least 800 teachers from Midlands have undergone training at Chitepo School of Ideology. Midlands Education Director Jameson Machimbira said the training has raised teachers' consciousness on being patriotic. The teachers were conferred with certificates by the Chitepo School of Ideology Principal Mnyaradzi Machacha at an event in Kwekwe recently. In business news, the government is working on improving the performance of key economic enablers to enhance efficiency and productivity in the manufacturing sector, Industry and Commerce Minister Dr. Sekai Nzenza said. Zimbabwe's industrial base has not been spared the negative impact of economic challenges that the country has faced for close to 2 decades, resulting in depressed production and capacity utilization. Following the coming into power of the Second Republic led by President Mnangagwa in November 2017, the economy has been on the mend following the rollout of a host of policy interventions to rebuild it. In regional and international news, Nigeria's River State Police Command has arrested a suspected fake Reverend Sister, identified as Maureen Wechinmu, who is allegedly involved in child theft. The police also rescued 15 children from her residence in Halu community in Ikwere local government area of the state. Some of the minors narrated to the police how they were kidnapped and given to the suspected fake Reverend Sister, who allegedly sold them to her customers, both within and outside the state. 15 children were rescued. In sports, Zimbabwe dominated the Confederation of African Cycling (CAC) BMX African Continental Challenge (AFCON) that was held at Buster's Circle Park in Bulawayo on Saturday. Team Zimbabwe was represented by 3 clubs: Busters BMX Club, Bike Addicts from Harare, and Harare BMX Club. The Continental Championships fall under the international cycling calendar. However, only Zimbabwe and South Africa were able to make it. That ends this news bulletin.
Voice of Change News.